Welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with Jackie Ray Phillips here on YikesRadio.com and AcceleratorRadio.net. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, guys, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics, guys, that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large. And we do these things to leave our listeners thinking and saying,
YikesRadio.com.
Guys, those are those sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And I always just, always give a special shout out to Mr. Nash because I respect him and I adore what he does here. And if it wasn't for Accelerated Radio, it just would be impossible for us to do what we love to do here on Saturday night. So just a very special shout out. And then I'd like to give a very special shout out to my gorgeous and amazing big sister, Lori G, the benefactor. How are you tonight, gorgeous?
I'm doing well.
Well, how has things been going? You've been busy bee.
I've been a busy bee. I've been busy relaxing.
Busy relaxing. You have to tell us the art of being busy to relax. The art of being busy to relax. So,
well, you
thank you
start off by going to a Caribbean island.
That's what I'm going to say. You have to tell everybody about everything out of the country. You have to tell us about the entire excursion.
It was wonderful. I don't know if you visited Aruba, but I would highly recommend it for everyone. I mean, it's a small party kind of place, but it's definitely a beautiful blue water, relax, chill out, and eat some really good food kind of place.
Uh-oh, not good food. I love food. It'd be so good in the tummy.
They have some good steakhouses.
Uh-oh, I know you love steak. Who did they?
But I missed the POJ show, so I'm excited to be back.
We're excited to be back too, ladies and gentlemen. So I also like to give a very special shout out to a little bit more of our sponsorship. And I want to give a very special shout out to Rashid. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm just doing dandy right now.
Not dandy.
Just
dandy.
Jim Dandy to the rescue. Y'all remember that?
Jim Dandy Chicken?
Jim Dandy.
Y'all
Yes,
remember
of
that?
course. Daddy used to take us there.
Dandy.
There's still, I believe, a Jim Dandy on Manchester.
There is not a Jim Dandy.
In the Iowa. There
You don't
absolutely
even, our
is.
guest doesn't even know Jim Dandy.
yeah, it's a chicken spot.
Let's look it up,
It's a chicken
Rashid.
spot.
Where is Jim
Where
Dandy?
is the Jim Dandy?
It's on Manchester.
Yeah, if I want, it's right there
Vermont.
off of Imperial and Vermont. Over there where the church is, and next to where it's literally right off the freeway. Right off the freeway, where the Metro line is, as well as the Louisiana chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there as well. Then you got the Louisiana chicken right here, and then you got the Jim Dandy's over here. Over in its own little corner.
I'm going. I haven't been to Jim Dandy's in 50 years. So
Remember we had one on a Long Beach Boulevard. You remember that?
I remember Jim Dandy's. That was the spot.
Between Compton and Alon.
That and Golden Bird.
Golden Bird was the money ticket.
And I know
Friday
there's no
nights
more
with
Golden
mommy and
Bird.
daddy.
Yeah, there's no more Golden Bird because there was one the one thing about that used to be on Manchester. That's no longer there.
The Golden Bird had the best pickles. I used to
And
like
chicken.
their pickles.
The chicken was just, the skin is just, it's so bad. I know that's where they said you ain't supposed to eat the skin. Then I have wondered, about people saying, but it was so good. Oh my goodness, so good.
Heart attack in a little paper cup.
But what do you think
Look,
about
Jim Dandy?
To the rescue?
Jim Dandy.
But what about Jim Dandy's versus Bojangles?
Bojangles. I've never been there.
You did eat Bojangles when we was in North Carolina.
Oh, Bojangles. Yes. Now, I can't comment because I haven't been to Jim Dandy's in like a billion years. But back in the day, I would say Jim Dandy would be better than Bojangles.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But Bojangles was okay. It was all right.
Golden Bird is on Western and 80th.
See, there is still
There
a
is
Golden
a Golden
Bird, ladies
Bird?
and gentlemen. We're going
There's
tonight when we
still a
leave
Golden
here.
Bird?
Western
leaving.
and what?
What time we
Western
getting
and
out
8th
tonight?
Avenue?
What time we get off?
80th.
See?
I'm there. I'm getting me some Golden
Russian.
Bird fried
Wait, Western
chicken.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on.
Ask them if they still serve pickles.
Lord, you're ridiculous.
Go over here.
That used to be the spot. I'm telling
Beautiful,
you.
amazing guest in the studio tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Who we have in the studio tonight?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Look at Lori. And they have waffles, it looks like.
Oh, they done upgraded. They have elevated
Okay,
Elevated.
so-
They got
Wow.
chicken and waffles now.
And pickles, chicken and waffles and pickles.
Yep. It's
Yeah, they're still there.
Yep.
And the
Yep,
cobbler
830.
is still
Look
good.
at that.
Okay.
10 o'clock. We get out
10
of
o'clock. Yeah, we have to rush and run
Baby.
out. We can make it.
We can make
Yep.
it.
And give me some greasy heart attack chicken. That's what I'm putting on the list.
Yep. 300.
I wonder if it's still
Southwestern
tasting amazing.
Ave.
We've got it one day
We
on the
gotta
grill.
go.
Just
We can go tonight. Shout the address.
All right, it is 8300 Southwestern
Like,
Avenue.
should I?
It's on the way.
Shouldn't I? Will
There
I?
you go.
Won't I?
Maybe our guest will go. You never know.
I know. The gorgeous LoveKeyyz in the house tonight. The gorgeous LoveKeyyz. I mean, there's just nothing you could just. I just came up with musical phenomenon that just would kept playing in my head, playing in my head, playing in my head when it was time to do the act. It's just musical phenomenon, but there's so much to talk about. There's so much to catch up on. There's just so freaking much.
It's been a year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's been a year. There's a lot. I can imagine.
I know.
Oh man.
So where do we catch up? Do we catch up first with music? Do we catch up first with career? Do we catch up first with the academia?
I think we should start with the academia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go girl.
Oh man. Okay, where do we start? We start here on this show 1 year ago. And I think it was maybe May I was here. I think it was May. And I remember we were talking and I was just casually just mentioning the schools I got accepted to. And I was like, oh yeah, I got accepted to USC. And then Lori looks over at me and says, do you know what I do? And I was like outside of this, no, actually.
What?
And Lori is actually a dean at USC. And she was like, I don't care what you say, you're going to USC. And I was like,
She's like, oh, I just got the T-shirt. I'm just gonna.
yeah,
wear
I was
it.
like, I just like the shirt, and it's cute. And Lori's like, yeah, that's cute, but I'm gonna call you tomorrow, and we're going to figure this out. And like literally from that moment, it's just really funny because I was here just talking about the music, and like it was just a casual conversation. And USC was like one of the smallest things on my mind, and the fact that I just opened my mouth and said that, and happened to be sitting next to someone
Right.
who is a dean at USC, it literally was just like perfect alignment because I couldn't see the vision, but Lori saw it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And from that phone call, Lori was like, I'm gonna make some calls and make this happen. And I rescinded my commitment to Cal Arts and I committed to USC. And I was nervous because it was like, okay, I was only supposed to do a 2-year program and theirs is like a 3-year program no matter like where you transfer from. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then I came. And then Lori also got me a job in her office. So it was just like everything was in alignment, and like this school has changed my life. It's been 1 year in like literally complete pivot. Like,
Oh my goodness.
I literally don't even have words. Like I always say like thank you, Lori. And Lori's just so like, oh, it's
No,
okay.
it's
Like it was
not.
nothing.
That's your journey. It's your
but it's just like
trajectory.
it literally I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy how people can see something for you and you might not like agree or see it, and then you just give it a chance, and it was like this was perfectly aligned. I was supposed to be here. So now that I'm at USC, like it's been, I don't even know where to start. Like what do I say? It's just been
You just have to tell us everything.
okay, so
What is like the social life like? I mean,
social
like,
life.
With regard
don't have
to-
one.
With regard to
Right,
music
right. What is a social
and
life?
Writing and
Thank you, Chance. Thank you guys. Social life is a little bit difficult for me because I'm a non-traditional student. I'm not, 18 or either 21 either, you know what I mean? So it's like I don't live on campus, so it was a little difficult for me. I was not as social, and I actually talked to Lori about that. I was like, I don't think I'm having a balance. I was working like 20 hours work study plus 20 hours outside of school plus full-time classes plus career plus gigs, and it was just not working out. So I think it took me the second semester to finally like get into a groove, and I started to just like realize how important it was to bond with like my cohort and go to the school shows or campus shows and stuff. So it's gotten like significantly better, and I feel like I've gotten in those circles, but at first it did not exist. Like I was just like school, work, school, rehearsal, and that was just it. And then now I feel like I know everybody, and you know what I mean, and it's just like fun, and I feel like I've developed like good friendships with people.
What about time management?
Time management, you already have to be disciplined to do it, like college in general, but USC is something else. Like, man, and I've done school before. I'm already an artist, so I'm doing the things, that they're learning for the most part, but it's just like the level of commitment that program alone requires. You have to like be strategic about your time, the way that you practice. Like, even practice, I've learned how to like not just dedicate an hour, because you don't have an hour all the time. So if you have 30 minutes, how do you maximize this 30 minutes to get what you need really quick? Because the first college I went to, we had to learn like 2 or 3 songs a semester to present like fully learned and fully like best performance of it. USC, we do 3 songs a week by ear.
Whoa.
So you can imagine, I'm like, I'm stressed about 2-3 songs a semester versus every week I have to listen to this song, learn the keys parts or vocal parts or both if I'm singing and playing, and 3 songs, and I have to get them exactly like the track and perform it, give a full out show with the band. So that school has taught me, like, you don't have time to waste, but you also, the things that you say you couldn't do, you can. It's just how you manage the time. It's just like when you're in the car, that's 30 minutes to listen to the lyrics and like figure out the structure of the song. Like when you're laying down in bed, that's like a quick moment you can have to like recite the lyrics. Like it's the little pockets of time. It doesn't always have to be like I have an hour in the studio rehearsing and warming up, because you don't get that all the time. And you got to be ready. So it's just taught me to like always be ready, always show up, even when I just don't feel like I can do it. You got to show up and you got to give your best, and you have to make it look as if this is your best, even if it's not. Like, I've been on stage and I'm talking about the worst pain of my life. Like, I had like a doctor's note for just 1 day off, and it was just not enough. Then I came back and I was just up there. I was like miserable, but I sang my heart out, you know what I mean? Because you have to. So, and people recognize that. So, yeah, that time management, they've taught me a lot.
Oh my gosh.
A lot, yeah.
Now, I know one of the biggest things when we were here a year ago, and after the show, I talked to you about your incredible talent, and all of you, we're going to play some of LoveKeyyz' music a little later in the show, and you're all going to fall in love with her the same way I fell in love with her. But networking was something that I talked to you a lot about. How has USC assisted you in that networking piece?
Yeah, it's assisted me a lot. And at first it was hard for me, because I think that when we hear networking, we hear it in a certain way. It's like, you need to be in meetings and you need to be doing, but it's also just about building relationships with people and like staying on their mind. And sometimes it's not even about putting an effort to network. It's also about showing up as your best self, and people see that and appreciate that, so when they need someone, they call you. And that was kind of the biggest thing for me, because it's natural for me to show up and just regardless and do my best, even if there's no reward for it. And I started to realize, just like, for example, I had no idea what to expect going into this school, so I was like, I don't know if it's going to be beneficial, if I'm going to get gigs or anything. But then I'll never forget, so they have this class is a performance class, and it is ran by Patrice Rushen and Andy Abad. Yeah, so there are teachers.
I was just listening to her yesterday.
Yeah. So they sit in the class and they like give us this music every week. Those the 3 songs every week. They give us the music and they judge us, critique us, and like build us and everything. So those are my teachers. They see me all the time. I show up, no big deal. And literally like a month or 2 into school, there's another class taught by Patrice Rushen where she interviews celebrity guests, and one of the guests was freaking Babyface.
Wow.
And I was like, Babyface, and they had a tribute for him by the students. And I remember sitting in that seat and I said, I'm going to be in one of these tributes one of these days.
Right.
2 weeks later, Patrice emails me and says, hi, I wanted to know if you're available to do background vocals for the Songwriter Hall of Fame tribute for Gamble and Huff. And that's all because it wasn't necessarily just about being in rooms and networking that way. It was about me showing up and putting on an image that she knew she could trust me with something like that. So when I got that email, I was like,
girl, floored.
I was like, I'm like, and we're doing like the OJs and stuff. I'm like, who would have thought when I grew up listening to this stuff, listening to my mama play it while she's cleaning, I'm like, I would be honoring the men who created this. You know what I mean? So being there and networking has been just like life-changing, because it's more so about how you show up. And I realized how important that was early on, because there were people who like failed out the first semester and stuff just because they made bad impressions and things. And you have to be the person that people can depend on, if nothing else. Even if your personality is like subpar, be dependable, because people see that, and when they have these things in mind, they're not like, they don't think like, oh, here's this list and these are talented people. No, they think instantly, you know what, such and such always showed up.
That's right.
Always put on a smile, never was in drama. They're gonna think about that person first. So it really showed me how much my efforts were being noticed, and it isn't always just about being in a certain room and looking at a certain way and talking to certain people. Of course it is that, and I've done a lot of that too. You know, I've been blessed to like just go to master classes and stuff there, but like it's taught me so much with that networking part. And also you and Siobhan had mentioned to me, just like, you know, email people and just like follow up, even if you have nothing to talk about. Like there was my songwriting teacher, like I never went to office hours until the very last week of school, and I was like, because it was busy and it was a learning curve and stuff, and I was like, I just want to pick your brain. Like we never got to talk, and we did that. And then the next semester I did the same thing. Hey, how are you? It's been a while since we talked. I just want to see what you're doing this summer, if we could talk for a couple minutes at office hours. And it's just stuff like that, just being on their mind. So like you said, when they have things and they're like, you know what, she's always dedicated and she is super talented, that's like the first person on their mind. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Amazing. That is so cool.
Now, for those who are listening, I know there's somebody out there, you know, this is a season of making your choices about where you're going to study. Yeah. And I know a year ago for you, SC held one of your biggest fears. You said you couldn't see yourself in that and see yourself there. So what did you do besides me like calling you every single day? What did you do in your processing to find the courage to face your biggest fear that you could share with one of our listeners they're sitting in your seat now, which you sat in a year ago?
Wow, that is a great question. So sometimes it does take other people like saying just like the most basic things to you to remind you that you're like worthy of it. And it's just like those conversations, first they started with me and you about how you were like, you know, you want to see more of us in there. And it's like I remember from the very start, you always emphasize how I deserve to be there. Like no matter what my situation is, I deserve to be there as much as everybody else. And even like Siobhan said that. So going in, once I had those small conversations with y'all, it was like when I started to go to like the like, you know, dinners or whatever they had just to like greet students or whatever, I just had to tell myself, I'm like, you didn't beg to be here, you didn't cheat to get in here, you did what everybody else did, and you are more than worthy. Like, because like once I committed, I started doing more research, and I'm like, this school is like, I'm like, the Obama's daughters go here, Kobe's daughter goes. Like, I was like, no, I can't be in this place. Like, this is like next level. But it was just like, I had to start realizing, and then I had to start looking at myself and the work that I've done, because everybody's always like, oh, you're like one of the hardest working people I know, and da-da-da. And I'm like, think about these things. People aren't saying them because they're bored and they just want to hype you up. Right. It's like, no, people see that, and I think that we just get in our head with this like this autopilot thing that we forget like the things that we're doing are great and they're being noticed. So it took for me to like sit down and start to realize like, I not only am I worthy of it, I'm ready for it. Like, this is exactly what I needed. And I look at myself and I'm like, you say you want to be in bigger situations and you don't want to be a big fish in a little pond. This is where you need to be. So it was just more so just like trusting the process. And once like I had like that realization of like, no, you do deserve to be here. Yes, it is crazy that you're moving into this new space, but like this is what you wanted. It's like, why are you so shocked that you are good enough? Like, you didn't beg, you didn't cheat. So it's like, just accept it. And like once I started to show up for those first couple days and stuff, it just felt like I was like, oh, like this is what I was like scared of. Like, no, I'm supposed to be here. This is for me. So it's just, you just have to realize what you have in yourself and like trust it, even if you don't think you have it. I think sometimes you got to be a little delusional and be like, you know, I am good enough, even if you may not be yet, because you will get there. Because when I came in that school, I'm like, oh, these kids, they like can play by ear and they can do all this stuff, and now look at me, I can play by ear. Like the stuff that I said I couldn't do, I'm doing.
This is from the woman who taught herself on YouTube
how to
play an instrument.
I know, and I'm like, and that's another thing. It's like, I'm like, look at the way you taught yourself that alone.
Yes.
Like, is that not proof enough that you are good enough? And it was just, I don't know, you just get in your head. And I think it was more of like the statistics. It was like, oh, it's a private school and it's this school and all these people go here. And I think the statistics were getting in my head because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be surrounded by all these like rich people, rich kids and all this stuff. But it's like, no, like you don't have to look like them or come from the same path as them, because some of those kids don't even have the same fire or passion. You know, they're there because they can be there. It's easy for them to be there, but it's like, no, you deserve to be there. We all deserve to be there. So
I think that's the key. The key for our listeners is you use the word worthy.
Yes.
And I think oftentimes people of color don't see themselves as having a seat at the table or feeling that they are worthy to have some good fortune, right? Or to have some opportunity. And I think that's so important. And I'm glad you're able to find that in yourself.
Yeah. I'm grateful too, because now that I look back at it, I'm like, are you serious? You didn't think you were like worthy of this? And even, I guess because things happen so fast that like, even with the Songwriters Hall of Fame thing, I'm like, me? I'm like, I got chosen, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, why not you? Why not you? Like, you work so hard.
They better recognize.
Like, exactly. And it's like, it's kind of coming to me now. It's like, okay, like, you can be humble, but like, still give yourself like your recognition. Glory. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't.
That's a big distinction, isn't it? Right? To that line between humility and walking in your glory. And I think oftentimes as people of color, we think we're like being pompous, right? If we say, oh, I deserve this, then you're being pompous. You're not being humble. Exactly. But we've got to find that balance between, you're not like boasting yourself, but you're believing in yourself.
Exactly. Right? And there's a huge difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now here's I think a very interesting question for our listeners, and I'm interested in it too, you know, is that people talk a lot about attending a PWI, right? A predominantly white institution, being a person of color. What has been your transition to attending a PWI?
So for me, it's a little different because I did go to college like right out of high school. So I do have a experience at a PWI before coming here. I wasn't there long, but I still, you know, experienced it. And I also did go to a HBCU for a semester. So I have both kind of perspectives. And I will say it is difficult. And I think people kind of like take it for granted, and they like, oh, they hear like, oh, I go to a PWI and it's hard, but like it really is, because you don't realize it until you're in situations, and then it looks like everybody is looking at you and you know what I mean? So it's just like, I've had those moments, but I think I'm just at a place in my life like where I don't let that stuff bother me. And also I think one of the things that, like, that's why, like, oh my goodness, ever since literally just starting with the conversations with us and you telling me, like, you deserve to be here. I will never forget that. Literally, when I went to, like, the welcome brunch for the music students, I had walked up to Patrice Rush, and I was like, all right, I gotta, like, get some courage. You know, she gonna be my teacher, so I gotta go say hi. I was like, hi, I'm Keisha. And I was like, you know, do you know where the such building is? And she was like, yeah, want me to walk you there? And I was like, if you can, like, and then she was like, she like was talking to me about just like music and stuff, and then she was like, we got you, like, you know, like, it's this still a PWI and it's still a white institution, but we look out for each other, and just expressing that. So it's about like, I'm realizing how important it is to find your community there. Like, you can have your friends in different spaces and everything, but it is honestly very important to find a community where you feel safe. And I feel like I found that in some of my professors, I found that in some of my peers, and also the Center for Black Students. Like, I didn't realize how important that space was. Even just like I would go in there and bring like my lunch and heat up my lunch, and they're like, "Oh, that smell good. What you made, girl?" Be so cornbread and some greens, and you know what I'm saying? It's like you just feel, it's like, oh, okay, I can breathe and like come back to life. Like you don't have to feel a certain way, but it's very difficult to navigate. So it's just really about finding your people and finding safe spaces for yourself, and if you can't find them, then you're going to have to create them, and just be like unapologetically you, because you are there and you deserve to be there and you're worthy of it. But that doesn't mean you have to like be whatever they want you to be. You can still be you and still, you know what I mean? So it's just about finding your community and just sticking to yourself, because they are allowed to be themselves, so why can't we be ourselves? You know, don't be afraid to wear your braids and you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna still be me, you know, of course be professional when it's required, but be you. So you just gotta find your people.
Good. I'm so proud of you. Definitely. So you've talked about a lot of different challenges that you faced, right? So for folks who are listening out there, what would you say of all the differences that you had to encounter over this first year? What was one of your biggest challenges that you feel proud you overcame?
That I'm most proud of, I think it has to be that, like, walking in your glory, because it's so weird how I've been doing music for all this time, and like before school and all of this stuff, right? And just even the like things that I've accomplished before school, it's just like, okay, you've done a lot, but still there was that level of like confidence that was always missing, and it was just like based on insecurities that I had dealt with growing up. And being in that program, it's like really intense, and like they put you on the spot. It's like a competition, so you get in this like way of being. And I remember, so we learn the 3 songs every week, and everybody learns the same songs. There's 4 bands, we all do the same exact songs. And it didn't occur to me over time that this is a competition, because if I sing the Etta James song, there's 3 other singers in the other bands who are gonna sing Etta James. Whoever sings that song's the best is gonna get that song at the showcase at the end. So it didn't occur to me, and I kept getting like ballads and stuff, and it like kind of was messing with me, because I'm like, do you think I can't sing? You don't think I have like the potential to sing a like heartfelt song? You know what I mean? Because I kept getting these like soft ballads. And by the second semester, I think everything started to click to me, and I was like in these vocal lessons, and I was kind of just like letting down these barriers and insecurities that I had like my whole life. And I'll never forget, I had like one vocal lesson with his name is Jeffrey Allen. He's like one of the most greatest vocal coaches, and he was like just teaching me. We were doing like James Brown, you know, he does a lot of like screams and growls and stuff, and like he just gave me this like tip to like make it work. And I'll never forget when I went to class and performed that, or it was James Brown, and then there was like a Sly and the Family Stone song, and I did the like growl and all like the little whatever, and I saw somebody jump out their seat and run out the door, and like my teacher looked at me and was like, and like, you know what I mean? And it was just like that moment where I feel like I was being LoveKeyyz, and I wasn't being just Keisha in an academic setting, trying to do the, and then like every quarter we have those showcases, so it's 4. That last showcase, usually every band, there's like 2 or 3 singers, we all get a lead song. I got 3 lead songs and 1 group song. All right. And usually just get 1. So I got all of the like growly, like really, you know, hype songs, and I gave like the performance of because it was like, it wasn't that I couldn't do it or nothing like that. I've been doing this for a while, but I think there was just this barrier that was always up, and then I just put in a lot of work for that, and that just like really made me proud. Like everybody was just like, yeah, we know you're gonna get that song. There was no like, it was no questions asked. So that was like the moment for me where it was just like, sometimes we just need that nudge and that just like trust with other people and like professors and stuff, and just being affirmed by them and stuff. So I just really put in a lot of work for that, because I do know I have like a very soulful, you know, powerful voice, but I just always lean towards the softer stuff, and I think that was like a mistake that I was making, and it wasn't that I wasn't good enough, it was just that's the you kept choosing that for yourself. So it's like, if you don't show them and let them know, they can't really, because there's no favoritism. They're gonna give you what you work for. And I will never forget, I said, I'm never getting a ballot again. I'm not letting that happen. And next thing you know, he was like, yeah, these are your songs. And they were like, you have 3 lead songs. Like, I'm like, how do you get 3 lead parts? Like,
I know how.
Yeah. So it was just like
I heard it on the album.
Yeah. So that was like a pivotal moment for me. And I think even since then, like the things I've been writing, the way that I sing, the performances I've done, like I never watch them and I'm like, oh, that was okay. I'm like, wow, that was me. I was singing like that. And then people are like, your voice is just so like, and it's showing. So that was like a breakthrough that I needed so badly to have off of like an insecurity when I was like 16 of someone saying something about my voice. And it was like, I feel like it finally broke at that moment.
All right.
So, yeah. I'm very, very proud of that.
That's great. Well, that's a lot about academia. Again, we're very, very proud that you are a Trojan.
You.
So what are new projects? What do you got going, brewing, or what projects have you been involved in over the past year?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. A lot of projects. Thank you. I'm trying to think from since last year. So the album came out right after I left this show. It was like a month later or a couple weeks later. I've been a part of a lot of writing projects. Was it last? Yeah, it was last year. About in September, I had like signed 2 like agreements with 2 companies that like do sync like licensing, which is basically you write songs for TV and film. So it's like on a song by song basis. So if it gets picked up, I get paid. So nothing has been placed yet, but I've been working with them. I wrote a lot of songs for them, and we just pitched some more stuff. So hopefully that goes through. So a lot of songwriting. I also have been part of those Songwriter Hall of... I got to do 2 Songwriter Hall of Fame tributes. I did another one in April for Mickey Stevenson, Motown Mickey Stevenson. And I have a new single coming out. Unfortunately, I don't have it recorded yet. I really wish I did so I could play it here, but it's coming out very soon. So I've been working on that. I'm very, very proud of that. Written
What's
by
the name of the single?
It's called In My Shoes. I wrote it about being at a PWI and being
All
black.
right. Oh my
Yeah. So that one I'm very, very excited about. We just recorded the production a week ago. I'm going to record the vocals within like the next week. I'm performing it at my show next week. So I've just been doing a lot of like performances, live performances, and working on new music. I also have a new like residency in Woodland Hills. I have a piano show at Vitamin X Club and Lounge every Wednesday night. So it's kind of like, an hour of R&B, pop, jazz, like, so just been gigging a lot. New music coming out. Harp. I've been playing harp a lot.
Really?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I've been seeing the photos.
Yes. I'm like, duh.
So where? How? When?
So
Was it? Yeah.
the harp. Okay, so it's 2023. 2022 last year, before I graduated the community college, they only have graduation in the spring, so I had like that 6-month period of just like, time. So one of my teachers, she's a harpist, and I just was always amazed by her. I always loved harp, and like I just like, this is so amazing. I'm like, one day I want to play. And she's like, well, graduation's not till May, and you're done. Do you want to take lessons in the meantime? I said, okay. Took lessons, fell in love with it, and I just felt like I had a natural inclination towards it, especially as a musician. It's like you play instruments, it kind of comes easier. So I took the lessons, graduated. Of course, I didn't keep up because I didn't have a harp. And then when I got to USC, that was like the first thing, that was like one of the first people I emailed the harp teacher, like, hey, I don't have room for it to be my minor, but I was wondering, like, how can I get involved? So long story short, I had like a piano class that was like required, but I play piano. So like I was like, hey Patrice, like, can you take that off my schedule? I'm like, obviously I play keys. She's like, yeah, you don't have to take that beginner piano. So that opened up a door for me to take lessons. So I was able to play, and that's when I started like a harp page. So I have a harp Instagram and TikTok, and I post covers and stuff. And TikTok has just been like blowing up from that, because you don't see harp often. So people are like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And then since I've been taking taking these lessons here at USC, it made me realize like it's not something that's a hobby for me. It's something that I feel very passionate about. And at first I was like, oh, you know, I'm like not classical and this and that. They're not going to accept me. But like I feel like I've paved my own way and I have so much support. And my teachers were like, you're like really good for your level. So I was like, all right. So now like that is like one of my things. So like with piano, so I'll be doing like harp shows soon, and like I'm hoping to do a harp like album, like sort of like meditative, like lo-fi kind of vibes with the harp. And so
that is super exciting.
It's amazing. It looks amazing.
It's incredible. I'm so in love with it, and I love piano. I do, but harp is kind of stealing a little bit of love right now, because it's just piano is beautiful, but harp is like the frequencies of the strings and everything. It's just like it just does something to you physically. So I've been playing that like all the time.
Wow.
All the time. Yes. Yeah, they've been helping me fundraise because I'm trying to get my own harp, and it's very expensive. So I'm like, you know, been like fundraising and doing like performances to try to raise money for a harp. So
like a GoFundMe page or something.
Yep. I have
Tell everybody about it. So
So my GoFundMe, I think the name of it is Help Love Raise Money for a Harp, but it is on my social media pages. So on LoveKeyyz, LoveKeyyz. There's a GoFundMe link if you feel led to give. You know, it's always there. It is completely open. The harp itself, and I know people look at the number and they're like, whoa, it is $10,000, and like, you know, you can send $5. It doesn't matter because I save the money from that plus like the gigs and stuff, and just in one like account, and just try to, whenever we get there, we'll get there.
Is $10,000.
Yeah, for a pedal harp, because they have what's called a lever harp, because you know you use your feet with it, but they so you use your feet to like change the pitches, but they have smaller ones where you just like flick a lever, and those are more like beginner harps. And because I've been playing for almost a year now and I've only played the grand harp, it's kind of,
you can't go back.
So that's why I'm like, if I'm gonna spend people's money on a harp, I'm not gonna spend $6,000 on a harp that is a lever harp when I can pay a few more thousand for the real deal. The real, exactly. So, and in the meantime,
spoken like a true Trojan.
Hey, absolutely.
I'm like, look, if people are giving me their hard-earned cash, so that's a pedal harp. You see how much that is.
Wow.
So the $10,000 is a good deal. I just got lucky. I went to a showroom and they was like, this is a very good, but it typically goes for
you guys
about
go to the
15
GoFundMe. She's getting a deal. The one that Rashid pulled up was $17,000.
And people always like send me stuff and they're like, this one is only $500. I'm like, trust me, it sounds like it's $500. Like, and with me being a professional,
you can.
Because if I was just like never played before, it wouldn't matter. But now that I've played professionally, I went to the showroom and I was like,
that one
is
25.
Look at it though.
It's beautiful. It is simply beautiful.
That's like, I think that's like one of the ones we have at school. So
Healy style 30. It's a pedal harp with a mahogany finish, which literally, if you know anything about mahogany wood, it's probably one of the most rarest, most expensive woods to actually craft.
Know that. That's part of it. A couple thousand is just the mahogany.
Right.
But they're very expensive. But like I said, just from the GoFundMes, and I make money on TikTok, and just whatever, I put money with it too. And it's just, we gonna keep going until, eventually, it'll take time, but like, I think that, God will bless me, because people have been so supportive. Like, they're just like, we're going to get you a harp. So I'm like, I'm going to keep working hard, and, I'm going to rent one. Actually, I have an appointment Monday to get a rental. So I'm kind of going backwards because I'm getting the small lever one. But it's just so I can take it out and let people see it, because at school I can't move their harp. So if I get one to rent, then I can you can be do gigs and go to the beach, and people are like, oh, what are you doing? Let me hire you for my wedding.
Absolutely.
So just trying to put myself out there to make more money. So we'll see. But I'm very, very passionate. It said go for the best, most expensive one. Hey, look, if we get there,
we're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there.
I would love a brand new harp.
We're gonna get there.
That was like $30-something thousand, but
Absolutely. That's amazing. Now, Keyshawn, give us your handles, or give our listeners your handles, how they can follow you and keep up with you. I know you used to do concerts on TikTok.
Yeah, I still do.
Do you still do those?
Yep. So
Okay.
I have everything like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all under LoveKeyyz. That's LoveKeyyz. And I do still do the TikTok. So right now it's only Monday and Wednesdays. But with the rental, with me getting that on Monday, I think I'm gonna do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But Mondays it's like a late night thing. It's like 9 p.m. Pacific, which is 12 a.m. Eastern. And Wednesdays, with me having that live piano show now, the Wednesdays are only for like the subscribers, so people who are like paying for the subscription. So really just Monday and for now, and then Tuesday we'll start adding because I have the rental. So yeah, if you follow me on TikTok, you'll see like when I post and let people know like today at this time or whatever, because sometimes it's random, but whenever I'm near a harp though, I'm like, set the phone up, we're going. So, and now that I'm gonna have it at home, I'm gonna set up a little like area with flowers and candles, and like I'm gonna wake up out the bed and go straight to the harp
And just flow.
Yes,
Do it.
I'm so excited. So I still do those every week. It's like my little other part-time gig. So yeah,
You got a lot going on.
always I'm trying to hustle it out, trying to get the world to see. And we've been growing because it kind of fizzled out for a bit last year around this time, and then this year it kind of picked back up. So I've gained a lot of new followers. I think it's because of the harp thing. I think the most I've ever had was like a couple hundred people, and like the other night I had 1,100 people watching me.
Oh, wow.
Around the world. Like
Praise
there were
the Lord.
different countries in Africa, there were people in Jamaica, there were people in like Europe. It was just like all these places. I was like, oh my goodness, we're all over the world right now. Like it was crazy. So
That's so exciting.
yeah.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, I love that. That's my favorite.
Yes.
He said, yes, amazing. Yeah, he said he's seen 1,200. I think it got up to like 1,200 at the highest.
That
like,
is so cool.
It's insane.
Yay.
That's true. Well, should we sample a couple of songs?
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. Rashid, can you pull something up for us? What should we listen to?
Man, I feel like we played the same thing last time because I had just dropped the album.
We got
but-
lots of new listeners.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, but I think the album came out after though, so maybe we didn't listen to. So let's listen to.
Is it off of the I Could Be Dreaming?
Yes. So let's pull up. Did you guys hear You? I think I played that last time.
And make a reminder. Give them a bit of reminisce.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let's play You. I don't know why I want to play that song.
Yeah,
but
we'll play that one.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't wanna never ever let you down. Promise in the storm and never let you drown. I don't wanna go a day without love. Promise I would never ever be afraid. Hoping that this feeling never goes away. Love is all I need with you. When you hold me, I can't breathe. This can't be the love I dream. 'Cause I am so lucky, love has found me. I am so happy. It's true, I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you. Standing next to you makes me feel so tall. Confident, I know you never let me fall. I'm a stronger woman, all because of love. Ever since we met, I haven't been the same. You brought out the truth and took the pain away. I just can't wait to build this life with you. You.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So my social media is, oh, that is so nice. Oh, that is so nice.
I
See?
love that song. It's just like, it's just so good. Like, I don't know, you know? When you in love and you all happy.
We have another one here that says, you need to ask Patrice Rushen if you could remake Forget Me Not.
Oh.
You know, let's talk about Patrice, because thank you guys. Patrice, y'all, I love her. Like, I always loved her, but like, I just have like, I'm just like so a big fan of her. And it's so funny because like, she's my teacher, and like even like from day one when we met at the brunch thing, and she like took me under her wing. And it's so funny because I always tell my friend this story, because my friend sent me this voice memo when I got accepted to USC. She was like, Patrice Rushen is gonna take you under her wing and you're gonna be great. And, and I was like, girl, stop. Patrice, she not even gonna know who I am. Y'all, like, I made such a great impression on her, like just showing up, just doing what I needed to do. And, you know, of course, her hearing about me before I got there. And I'll never forget, because as a singer-songwriter, you take whatever your instrument is, you take lessons in that. You don't take vocal lessons. So I take piano lessons, and my teacher, I still don't know what happened with her, but she had like went on leave, and I didn't have a piano teacher, and I was like emailing Patrice like, hey, you know, like, I don't know what's going on. It's like the week into school, and everybody has their lesson, and I ain't had nothing. She's like, we got you. We're going to figure it out. And it was like me and my other friend talking about it. We didn't have a teacher, and then she was like, I got my teacher today. And I was like, what? I ain't got no teacher. Like the next day, Patrice Rushen emails me and says, hey, I have 2 more slots open, was wondering if you wanted to take piano lessons with me. What do you mean, do I? Do I will open my schedule for you anytime. So like,
haven't you heard? I'm looking. Haven't you heard?
Okay, because I'm like, and it just, I was literally crying. I was just like, you know, it's one thing to like know she's at the school, but like to be mentored by her has been like one of the most pivotal things too. Because even before she was my teacher, I had like a jury where you perform in front of her and like the faculty. She was like, I want to see you play keys more in like the performance class with the bands, because I sing and sometimes I play keys when I can, but she's like, I want to see you take more on that role. And like ever since she said that, I messed up so much. I embarrassed myself a lot of times, but I knew that it was gonna make me better. And like I would always say, hey, you can ask me if you need help with keys, and end up playing keys for a lot of people in the bands and stuff. And like I've been taking lessons with her, and it's just like, it's like a dream, because I'm like, you like me, like we cool like that, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, it's been so life-changing, and it's beautiful because like it's beautiful when people like that see
your beauty.
Exactly. And I'm just like, Patrice, you don't understand, you're a legend. Like, you are a legend.
So what does that tell you, my love?
Exactly. So I'm just like, let me get this and soak this in.
Get your mind
like,
right, shawty.
Yeah, and then when she asked me to do the second Songwriters Hall of Fame, that was also confirmation, because I'm like, you could pick from hundreds of students, and the second time around you choose me again. Like, what does that say about me? And like, she was like, yeah, when we have our next one next year, like maybe I'll like arrange a part for the harp. And I'm like, and it's like, I didn't even ask her for that. She's just like thinking about me, you know what I'm saying? Yes. And like, it's just, it's so mind-blowing to me. And to this day, like 10 years later from now, I'll still feel like this, because I'm just like, it's just unbelievable to be in her presence alone and just learn from her. And I was like, I can only play a little chord or two. And then like, she's like, I got you. And then as soon as the first lesson, she's like, I know exactly what I want to do with you. And just life-changing, like pivotal. And I'm like, at first when I got this piano show, I was like, how am I going to do this? I'm like, Patrice trained you for this. Like, she literally trains you for this exact moment. Like, you think that you can't. And she's like, when you think you can't do it, do it. And like, just try it, break it down. You have all the tools that I taught you of how to get there. Break it down, use your tools, and you can do it. You maybe can't do it on the spot. That's fine. Not everybody can play some crazy stuff on the spot, but you can do it because you have the tools to do it. So just been life-changing. Like, I'm big fan girl. Like, every time I even see her email, I'm like, oh my God, Patrice Rushen!
Speaking of which, can we do Haven't You Heard? What does the word opportunity mean to you?
Opportunity. I think it means, for me, it's a chance for you to reveal yourself. I think that we all look for opportunity and we want these things, but I think when you get an opportunity, it's like, do all of the things that you've been thinking, like, give it to them, everything you got. So opportunity is just like that's your chance, like that's your moment to be everything that you are. Don't sugarcoat it, don't diminish it. Give them everything you got, because that's your chance. Like, do it wholeheartedly. Yeah, I love this song too.
I was listening to this yesterday, I promise you. I told you about synchronicity. And the braids are off the hook. Okay, on top of your social media right now, like on fire. What are you thinking right now? Like, what are you thinking when you hear that and you're like, this is who you stomping with? This is no, really though.
This is your email buddy.
It feels so good, and it's like. It's literally just like a dream, honestly. It really feels like a dream. Like
Biggie Smalls. It was all a dream.
It was all like
to read Word Up magazine.
Like it's like I said, just I didn't know what to expect coming here and to just do these cool things. But I think that's like the most like thing that's kept me going the most is knowing that I have a legend in my corner. Like I've met a lot of great people in my life, and I've worked with a lot of talented people, got the opportunity to meet a lot of great celebrities, but like Patrice is just one of those that is just like it's just incomparable. And just to she's also just a great person, like a very phenomenal human being, and to know that I have that, and it's just like I don't know, I'd be like scared to like just I don't know, just be, you know, because we have a relationship, but like it's like she's always rooting for me, and knowing that literally is the driving force of me keeping myself going, like because I'm like, that's Patrice, like do y'all know, do y'all research, do y'all know who this is, like, and to know that she believes in me and she sees it for someone of that caliber, that's how I know I'm like, there's something in this for me. I may not know what it is in every moment, but there's something that's gonna come out of this music thing, because like somebody of that caliber believes in me that much, you know what I mean? And that's me being humble. So imagine when I finally, like you said, walk in that glory and have her in my corner, it's just like, okay, then it's gonna really like take off.
And all of your
like,
tools.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like, I don't know, like I always, when I first came into lessons with her, I always be like, oh, like, you know, I'll do the work that she tells me to do. I'm like, I'm getting it, I promise. It's just gonna take me more time. She's like, Keisha, like you got it more than you know. And then when I look back at the stuff she taught me, I'm like, she was right. I literally had it. It's just, it's new processes. So you learn, and it takes time. But now I go to shows and I'm like, because Patrice, one thing about her, ear is on point. You could play one little note, she's like, oh, did you listen to the song? Like, y'all, it sound, look, on the real though,
she bust you down.
It was like boot camp, those classes. Like, it sounds fun.
Which is why you're so good.
Exactly. Because she would be like, the band's not in agreement. What are you playing? What chord are you playing? And the bassist will be like, oh, I'm playing a minor chord. And they'd be like, oh, I was playing major. She's like, that's your problem. She's like, I'm hearing a clash, and I go see music now, and I'm like,
you can hear it, huh?
I'm like, that bass, something, why are you playing? And I'm just like, I could not hear, because I'm a singer, so like above everything, so I just hear the vocal. I don't really hear everything else going on. But now I'll be like, well, somebody ain't practiced, somebody, you know what I mean? And I'm in even with my own gigs and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I know how to talk to people even more. I'm like, okay, this is the part you need to play, and you need to play this part because that's clashing. And like, it's just, the ear has become so sensitive. Like, just all these little things she was teaching, she's like, you got it, I promise you. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I can hear all of these things now. And it's just,
you know what, you're a perfectionist. I'm hearing that. I'm gonna tell you what I hear, what I'm going to Michael Jackson's This Is It, and it's in my ear, it's just not, it's not right. Michael's like, no.
And that's a beautiful, exactly, because you develop that sensitivity, and that's important too. It's like, because at first I'm like, you know, I'm a singer, so I'm like, I know things, but I'm like, I don't really know about other people's parts. But I see why it's so deeply important to, even if you can't play guitar, listen to the guitar part and really know it, and like pay attention, because then you know how to direct the people that you work with, and then you can tell the difference between the professionals and the people who just play good, because there is a huge distinction. Now when I go see this music, I'm like, you can tell who's like really about their craft and who's not, because I got this intense freaking training. Because at first I was like, wow, like I'm talking, we had to learn the tracks to the very detail. If he does the run with like 5 little like notes up to that note, you do the 5 notes up to that point. Like it's not, you do it the way that LoveKeyyz, exactly. And it's a reason they train us this way, is to develop that sensitivity, and also to know, to study where things come from, because if somebody says I want a Motown sound with the drums, you know exactly what that sounds like because you played those drums exactly as they should sound. So now you can give that, and they're like, oh, how did you know to play it just like that? It's like, that's exactly because I studied the music and played it as they played it. And there's just so like the little things that I learned in those trainings, but it feels so like to say like, oh, Patrice Rushen, yeah, we're cool like that, like, and I don't talk about it with people, you know, because it's, you know, it's new, and it's also just like just enjoying it, you know, for what it is. But like, you know, when it's time for like the bios and stuff, like I have a songwriting camp I'm hosting this month, and like they're like, send a bio, and I'm like, you know, you got to let people know your credentials, and I'm like, you know, I've studied with Patrice Rushen,
Absolutely.
and that's what it is. And it feels weird to say that now, but I'm like, a year ago, who would have thought I would just be like, cool, Patrice Rushen, like, y'all, my mind is literally blown, like, every time, like, but I take advantage of it, and I appreciate it in the moment, but it's still, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, dang, I just left Patrice's office, like, I'm in here hanging with her, and she's playing, like, we'll like play together, she'll like play, like she'll solo, and she's like, you gotta hold down the like the main part, and like, because that's like a skill in itself too, because we play like two keyboards, so I'm like playing a bass line up here and playing the chords, and then she's solo, and then she's like, you just gotta keep the groove going, and I'm like, wow, this is insane, like, oh, I love her so much. I love her so much.
And she was from Locke High School, right?
I think so.
Locke High School, right?
Like,
that's awesome.
Oh my goodness, like it's a blessing. So I got to go to her rehearsal too this summer. She invited me to her.
Oh wow.
I was like, I'll be there. I'm like, sorry, like when you said, haven't you heard? I'm like, I got to see this live because, you know, she's my teacher, so she really is training me. I've never seen her like perform live. So that was like my version of seeing her in her element, because she's always training us and coaching us. And I'm like, I'm sitting in Patrice Rushen's rehearsal right now. Like, it was so insane, because we went to see her at the Baked Potato, and just like you said, just following up with people, like we just went to go see her play, and like I, you know, emailed her, was like, hey, it was so great seeing you, you know, in your element, we've always wanted to see you live. And then she emailed me in a couple days, was like, hey, I remember, you know, I told you when I had a rehearsal I would invite you to one, so I have one tomorrow if you can make it. And I'm like, if I can make it, girl, I would drop my life for you, Patrice. So that was,
but I think, like you say, a lot of it is just being steadfast and supporting your other artists.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and like I said, we always want to see her perform because we don't get to. She's always the one, you know, coaching us, and it's like, to see a legend like that is just like, wow. I'm like, this woman is insane. So yeah, it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey with her. So I'm looking forward to continuing our work and just being great. And
now tell us about your songwriting camp. You kind of threw that in there.
Oh,
I know.
Just like a little bit of that.
So there's a studio in Hollywood called Girl Sound Studio. It's a fairly new studio, like a few years old, and I know the owner, and he is starting these like monthly songwriting camps with like different songwriters, and basically it'll be like, I'll just give like tips and stuff for songwriting. I'll get to listen to some of their songs and just kind of just a little camp just to help them develop their craft and give them, you know, insight. And it is free too, so I'm like, you know, go on the website, get the ticket. It's free. You know, like I said, it's like 4 hours, 12 to 4 on, I think it's the 22nd, whatever the Saturday is. I think it's the 22nd of July. But yeah, just giving them literally all this free game that I soaked up at SC and through my career, and just helping them, you know, develop. And it was just cool because I don't advertise it, but because I am a songwriter by nature, so I do like calls with people, like you can like book me to like coach you through like your songs and stuff like that, just to give insight, professional insight, because you know your friends will tell you they like it because they're your friends, but to really coach people. And I had a client like the day before, and then he texted me and was like, hey, would you be down to host this camp? And I was like, that's funny, I literally just had a client and I never advertised that, and the fact that you asked me to host that is like just remind, I guess, kind of bringing to the surface, like I should probably talk about that more. I just do so much, so it's like I don't know, I forget to talk about that, but like songwriting is a very integral part of my career, because I am a singer, but I'm a singer that writes all their own stuff. So it's like,
and where does that inspirations usually come from
for songwriting? Like where do everything. Like I can literally like how my upcoming single In My Shoes, it was actually, I was in a songwriting class. So I was like, I just need a song to write. But I was like, you know, I was just like looking at these kids and I'm like, you are in classes with people and sometimes you don't know their like personal life. And like, I'll like find out some of these kids are like filthy rich, like filthy. And I'm just like, I don't know. I forgot what the scenario was, but I feel like sometimes, like you said, how you feel at a PWS, like people look at you and maybe think like, oh, because I don't have the newest this and the newest that and all of that, that they might be judging you. So I'm like, let me write this song about, you know, my shoes, because I wear these like Converse that I've had since like high school, like, and they're like busted up and I wear them every day because I'm like grinding every day. So I wear them all the time and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna write about looking like how I look physically. Like I may not be in the nicest, newest thing, but like I probably work harder than you, and like I'm still gonna keep going because that's not gonna stop me. So that was like a big inspiration for that song, and it was just like a songwriting. You know, me is natural, so I just wrote it, and then I was like, damn, this actually, I like this, and then people loved it, and I was like, wow, I need to speak more about that kind of truth too, because I talk about love and heartbreak and stuff, but I don't really talk about like personal trials and stuff. And I was like, okay, that might be a good idea to like really push that. And everybody that's heard it has related to it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah. And I do have a sneak peek of that online too. Cause I thought about it, I was like, well, we can't play it before the show is over. Cause I did a quote unquote Tiny Desk video with USC, the Black Student Center. Oh my God, that's a whole story. So it's Black History Month, you know, so we doing all the black things on campus. And there's a guy in my class, black guy, and he was just like, you know, I found your Instagram, like you're so dope, like I really want you to audition. You know, I don't like talent shows. I don't like talent shows, Idol. I don't like stuff like that. I just don't like competitions because I just feel like it's always about a sob story or like, you know what I mean? It's never, I don't know. It's not a thing that I like. People always ask me why I don't audition for stuff like that. It's just not it's a personal thing. So I was like, I'm gonna just do it. Like, you know, and it's like, I'm also getting to know other black creatives here and stuff. Audition, obviously I made it. So went to the like, you know, actual thing, and I remember I was just like, you know, just doing it just because I love it, you know. And I did Whitney Houston, Don't Make Me Close One Door. What song is that?
I know what you're saying.
I have nothing. The name of it. I have nothing. So I did that song, played on piano, and sang it. Yeah, exactly. And like,
you took the roof off. My jeez.
And I just did it and went for it, and like I won, and like it was kind of like, people were like, oh, how do you know you weren't gonna, like, you were gonna win? I'm like, I just wasn't going in it for that. So I wasn't thinking about winning, but I won. And he was like, the prize is $100. And also, I knew it was $100, but he was like, also, we would like to give you the very first USC Tiny Desk performance in the Black Student Center. I was like, what the? Like, this is not real. So we did that. Sponsored by the CBCSA, and I got a black band together, and we performed my album, like some stuff from my album. They filmed it, and the very last song I did is my new single. So that's like the only like version of it that's out in the world right now, because it's not out, but we can definitely listen to that. So,
okay,
yeah. Right. That's so crazy. So
how do we find that?
So it'll be the USC Tiny Desk video, and in the description there's like a timestamp for In My Shoes because it has multiple songs.
Okay.
So click the description and it should say, yep, perfect, In My Shoes. The song is written, arranged, and produced by me. So
okay.
Called In My Shoes.
My shoes.
Growing up, I had to fight, doing anything just to survive, working twice as hard just to be as good, 'cause privilege skipped my neighborhood, yeah. Steady checking on my pace when you could never take my place. Talking down on my shoes, 'cause I don't really look like you. And yeah, they might look beat up, 'cause finding hard really gets tough. But no matter what, I'ma still get up and fight, 'cause my shoes were made for
My shoes were made for walking. 10 years walking, but my feet still bruised. I'm in too deep, I got a lot to lose. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. I used to cry, but now I realize I was chosen. Steady checking on my pace when you can never take my place. Talking down on my shoes, cause I don't really look like you. And yeah, they might look beat up, cause grinding hard really gets tough. But no matter what, I'ma still get up and fight, cause my shoes were made for walking. 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 My shoes were made for walking.
All right, I love that.
I love that. It's really high.
It is.
Yeah, and it's very new, very different.
That's
very
a different
just
kind of from the album.
a
That's
different, you know,
space.
Yeah. So that's why I'm really excited about it. You know, that was just like a rough version. It was the very first time we ever played it. But somebody said you sung it with soul. Like it was really I feel like just after that moment with that vocal culture and that switch, like it just changed everything for me. So I'm going with that. That's kind of the vibe that I'm going for. Exactly. That pain, that soul, and just telling my story. And literally everybody who's heard it so far is just like, this is crazy. Like this is a vibe, and it's catchy too. So
It is catchy.
yeah. So it'll be coming out very soon, probably sometime next month. I just need to finish recording it. I will be performing it though at the next show and at the Mint.
Yeah, tell all the listeners about the Mint.
Yeah, July 18th is Tuesday, July 18th at doors at 7, and my set is exactly at 8:30. I'll have a live band, so we got AN on keys, we got Ryan on drums, we have Wyatt on guitar, Jordan on bass, and Jackie on trumpet. And you know it's gonna be a party, it's gonna be a concert if I ain't playing keys, because you know I play keys for everything. So I was like, look, you take that from me so I can be up there going and focus on the vocals and really giving a solid performance. So yeah, it's gonna be very great, and I'm very excited. Like, just it's so many things that went into that. Like USC was that influence. Like that was all USC. It was like being there. The story came from being there. The writing came from being in a class there. The arrangement and just the live instrumentation was influenced heavily by Patrice, because incredible arranger, you know, doing all these like Songwriter Hall of Fame tributes. It's like how she like takes every single part, and she's so articulate and like expressive with her music. Like all of that is just influenced by my experience there. So very proud of it. I'm ready for her to hear it. I can't wait for her to hear it. She hasn't heard it yet because it's like not done, but when I record the vocals, like I'm gonna send it to her like, check me out, you know, look and listen to the guitar, the piano. She'll be like, that's you playing them kids. Yes. So just very, very excited. As you can see, that experience for me has been just, you know, life-changing. Like taking what I already had, but like showing me like you can talk your stuff with it. Like, don't be so humble, don't get comfortable. It's like, okay, step out and show out. Like, and that was like the main lesson, like being in that class, and I kept getting those ballads. I'm like, nah, you gotta show out. That's what you're here for. This school is like $80,000 a year. You need to show out every single time you're in that class. Any stage, even if it's a private small class, show out. Like show out, and don't feel apologetic about it. Don't let them think like, oh well, she's older than us, she more experienced. No, because everybody in there is not young and 18. Some of them have careers already too, and some of them come from money. They've been playing since they was 2. I ain't played since I was 2. I got a couple years under my belt. You've been playing since you've been walking. You know what I mean? So it's like, go up there and show out every single time. And I'm like, now I'm learning that to just like, and that's how you're supposed to do anyway with anything, but like, not even taking those small moments for granted. Like, even if it's something you can do in your sleep, do it like it's your performance of a lifetime, even if it's 2 people in the room, because somebody might be making a call on your behalf, you know?
That's true.
Yeah, and I've realized that. Like,
I think it goes back to what Jackie was talking about, your definition of opportunity, right?
Exactly.
So you take
taking
each
that
moment as if it's an opportunity.
And that's what you should do, especially when the opportunity is given for you, because you know, it's hard to get opportunity, like when you really want it. So when you actually get it, it's like, it can be scary and it can be like overwhelming, but like, take it for everything that it is. And that's why like I'm like really proud of like my USC audition, because for some reason auditions scare me, but that one I went in there and I was like, nah, I'm about to kill it. Like this is my moment. And like I will never forget that ever, because I remember Chris was like, did you write that? Like, cause you know, sometimes people say stuff and you can tell they ask because they're like intrigued, cause you know they can't show any bias or anything. But I knew when he asked me that question, I said he loved that song, cause he was like, wow, you wrote that? And I was like, yeah, I wrote that. And Patrice actually told me that like a couple months ago. She was like, did I ever tell you the story about him? And I was like, no. And she was like, after your audition, he called me and told me to put you at the top of the list for acceptance. And I was like, me, like, it was just like these full circle moments. And I'm like, they literally were advocating for me. And like, he was my teacher when I first got there, and I never would have thought that, like, because he treated me just like everybody else, but he was like, put her at the top of the list. She's getting in here. He was like, whatever we have to do, she's coming here. And it's just crazy, like how he had that conversation with Patrice early. You had that conversation with me, and it was just like, it's because it was supposed to be. Like, I was supposed to be there. All these conversations were happening, and I was not listening. I was just like, oh, whatever. But yeah, it's crazy.
It is. But anyone listens to you, they you know, I'm like, oh no, you got to be a Trojan. That's we not. There's just too many opportunities, right? And spaces that are open and networking. You know, if you're gonna working in this type of industry, you know, there's some heavy hitters on the West Coast, and SC's one of those.
Exactly. And I knew, but I ain't know. I was like, whew, this is crazy. Like, everybody in here is accomplished and just like, and so willing too. I've met so many great, like, especially the Black professors. They're so just willing to be an ear or to help make a connection where they can.
Like Ron McCurdy. Really
I still haven't gotten to talk to him, but I'm gonna try again this semester. I had sent him a couple emails, but I'll try again this semester. Yeah.
So we want to switch a little bit, at least I do, because you know I'm nosy. Right? So you talked a lot about songwriting, and usually the last part of our show we do our little tea time. So the first album, which I love so very, very much, right? I Could Be Dreaming. If I remember correctly, part of this album was written out of heartbreak, right? And then there was a flip in the album where you got more inspiration. Now, you know we got to play my song before we go. Life Ain't Worth Living. So tell us about the heartbreak, and if there's any new potential love lines. I knew that question was coming. What's happening now? It's been a year. Are you healed?
Yes, and it's crazy because I had 2 shows this week, and both shows I had a 30-minute set for my original music. So I did a bunch of songs from that album, and the first song I did, like, I always do like the sadder songs, and then I do like the happy songs to like bring it back up. And it's funny because I was like, y'all, I know that last song was so sad, but we're healed, we're happy, we feel good. So I was like, this song is like the healed version or whatever. So I'm in like the greatest place of my life. Literally, I am so like, you know, I still have my personal battles and all of that stuff, you know, whatever, but like as far as like emotionally with like relationships and stuff, I am healed, I am healthy, I'm happy, I'm glowing, I'm feeling myself, yeah, it's funny because I perform some of those songs often, but I don't really perform the sad songs often. So performing that this week was kind of like that moment where I was like, damn, I am healed. Like I have no attachment to these words anymore. They don't make me sad. Like they make me, because I was like tearing up while I was performing, but that's because like I'm a very like emotional performer. I give you the emotion of the feeling, but it wasn't me tearing up because of the words or I was hurt. It was just me like giving it in the performance mode. But I just was like looking back after that night and I was like, these words don't bother me at all. At all. Okay. Like I don't feel any sadness, any attachment to it. So yeah, I'm feeling great. As far as love life, I am just in my prime and enjoying life. Of course, there are a whole bunch of people who want to be, but they won't be. So,
I mean, of course, wait them off now. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
got a big stick just beating them
literally, because I mean, the discernment from then has grown like incredibly. But I mean, I feel like we always have a person that we like kind of, you know, keep like around or deal with, so to speak. But there's nothing like seriously moving or happening in my life, just because I have never been this happy for one. Just like personal life, career life, my family's healthy, everything is just great right now. And I'm actually having like breakthroughs with music like since I've been here in LA. And how do I say it? I feel like I have high standards, but it's not really high standards. It's really just the bare minimum. And I just want what I want. And I don't think anyone has shown me that. And I'm also at that stage where like I don't want to do the situationship and sneaky link and all of that stuff because I'm worth more than that. And I don't want to get wrapped up and involved with somebody and like feel like I always have to question it or just you know what I mean. It's like I just want somebody who is like serious and invested, but I also don't want anything serious right now. So it's like if you don't want anything serious, I'm not gonna like waste my time. So I'm just in that phase of like having fun, going out. Like I'm going, that's why I'm dressed up, because I'm going to dinner with my homegirl tonight. Like just enjoying me, you know what I mean? And if you want to come along, then you can, but you have to come appropriately, you know what I mean? And the person that I like talk to here and there, they, you know, have the correct energy and everything, but you know, relationships not on the table for me right now. But you know, I don't know, I'm focusing on being the greatest version of myself, and if it comes along, it comes along. But people got to be serious. Like LA is like, I don't know, people here just yeah, y'all laugh because y'all know like Hollywood people talk, man. Yeah, Hollywood. And it's like, and I understand like everything doesn't have to be serious or whatever, but there's also a level of respect that has to be there, and I feel like that often doesn't exist. But you know, I've been courted and things, and you know, live my princess life and all of that good stuff. But yeah, people gotta come, and it's just also after being what I've been through, it's like I am worthy of the things that I want, and it shouldn't be a negotiable. It shouldn't have to be. That's just how I personally feel. I feel like life is short, and if you want something, then you can go for it, because it's like, you know, things are changing. Like it used to be like women, we have a man, we're all married, and we, you know what I mean? And that's still for me the goal, but I think that people don't allow you to feel safe and feel, you know, taken care of these days. And until I experience that, I'm not gonna give myself to my full self to you. So yeah, I'm just having fun and just, you know, whatever comes along, then we'll see. But I'm just like really at peace. Like I did date after my ex, like you know, after we got out, and I had one that was going fine, and it was a shit show, if I can curse. And then there was another guy who seemed genuine, and y'all, this man had a girlfriend. I found out he had a girlfriend like a couple months later. So yeah, so after that, like, and it was just funny because that's when I was like finally healed. It was like almost a year after my ex, and I was like, oh, I'm in this space where I'm like, I'm kind of okay, right? And here he come swooping in with the little, you know, cute little stuff, and then like it was great. We were having a fantastic time, and then one day he was just like, I really can't do this, and I'm like, what happened? You know what I mean? And then long story short, I ended up seeing him later, and he had a girlfriend. So, or maybe he didn't, maybe he wasn't with her that the whole time, and maybe it was like, you know how after back and forth, and they like off and on, and maybe they were back ready to get back on, so he had to like end it or whatever. But ever since that was last year, I was like, you know what,
I'm
I'm gonna be a little more intentional, you know, because that was not my fault. There was nothing that I could have saw, you know. I was completely blindsided.
Absolutely.
I mean, this guy had me at his family's house, so it's like you see stuff like that. It's like, how do you, you know? But yeah. So after that, I was like, I'll just focus on me. And also, I think people get intimidated too when they see you working hard and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah, and he wasn't
meet
able
the
to
bar.
come. Yeah, he was not gonna make it with me anyway because he was great. He was talented and doing his thing. But I think once like I got to USC, things really started. The ball was
Ramping up.
rolling, and
Yeah,
I was like super busy. And like I think it kind of got to him a little bit, just to see my life kind of 360, and his was still. Like, you know, and we're all in different places in our lives. It wasn't to compare, but it was just like I'm moving quickly, and then also your emotional stuff you got going on. So yeah, just been focusing on myself, and like I said, I'm in my princess treatment era, so I want to be spoiled. I want to be all the things, and if you ain't doing that, then I won't even look your way. And I ain't talking about no dinner, because I can buy myself a dinner. Okay, I'm talking about book my studio time, pay for this harp, do something dramatic, honey. Because there's people on TikTok I ain't never met in real life, and they are willing to support and go to the earth for me. And people, my fans, like people that support me, they really are invested. So why would I date somebody who's not down to? You know what I mean? Like, come on. So, yeah, nobody's really it's about tell it. Ain't nobody applying that pressure. So I keep to myself.
As a woman, do you think you matured to this level of thinking and processing, or did you always have that level, or that always standard for dating?
It was always standard, but I think that this is about to be stuck in my head, Jackie. Walking in your glory. I think that it was always standard, but I was never always walking in that glory. You know what I mean? Because I think, like you said, especially people of color, we're so apologetic, especially as Black women. We're always apologetic and feel like we have to over explain ourselves. And it's always been the standard for me, but I do catch myself being in situations where I feel like, I need to pull back, or I need to not be so needy, or not, you know what I mean? But now I'm having these realization moments. I'm like, I've worked so hard to get where I'm at. Like, just looking at the things that I do with school and my career and stuff, and it's like, no, you do deserve the treat. Even if I didn't, it's like women still deserve treatment, even if, they're not overly talented and super successful. Like, if that's what you desire, that's what you can have. So I think that it was always there, but I did have to mature to it. Like, I had to unfortunately, sometimes we do just have to go through stuff and deal with and that's not to say my ex was bad, because he was a great person before all of the cheating and stuff. Like, he still courted me the same way people court me now. He really went overboard with it. That's why I liked him a lot. First date, he was doing all the dramatics and stuff, which could be a red flag to some people, but honestly, Nigerians are very affectionate and super, but he, like I said, he did all the things. He still did those things that I require now, but I think it did take a little more maturing, because especially with me being grown, there's another level of that. Because when I was 20, dinner was so impressive, but it's like, I'm 26 now. I'm like, baby, I pay rent every month. I support my own career. I pay for my own music, my own everything. So dinner is not impressive to me anymore, because it's just like I can pay for my own food. So it's like, I don't know, I just see things, and guys, I'm like, you think just because you took me to get a steak that I'm supposed to lay with you? A steak?
Right.
I have to do probably this month, or close to the beginning of next month. I have to do a date at a steakhouse. I have to do that.
That's where I'm going tonight,
So,
but with my homegirl.
Yeah, I have to do that with a friend, maybe going to another direction. It's kind of just one of those, let's just wait and see.
Right.
How things, kind of just.
And there's nothing, and that's not me saying you can't take me on a dinner date, and I'm, you know what I mean? You still, still take me out and stuff, but I'm saying, don't think because you bought me a steak and bought me a glass of wine that I'm so impressed. No, I want to know what kind of person you are. I want to know if I can trust you, if I feel safe around you. It's deeper than that now. So it took a lot of maturing to get. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Then that might be, that one's different though, because it's y'all already know each other. But me, I'm all right, I need your whole background. I need to know what is your relationship like with your parents, because
that's a good question.
How do you know what I'm saying? Because the way that people speak about their family and stuff, that it means something, because if you got trauma, if you be like, oh yeah, I don't talk to my family, it's well, that's probably a valid reason why you don't, but why don't you? I need to know that. Is it because y'all dysfunctional? Is it trauma? Do you need to go to therapy? Like, we are grown. We should have these conversations. So, yeah, it's more than just the nice things and the dates and stuff, but, you know.
Do you think social media and dating apps complicate or simplify dating for young people?
It has complicated it.
It is complicated.
Yeah, because for me it hasn't, but for the typical person, because whether we want to admit it or not, we are so influenced by social media, like the things that we see. And there was this like spike in like the whole what do they call it, the soft girl era and the princess treatment. All of that was like, because that's something for me has always been a standard, but it's become like a trend where it's like, oh, I want a guy to always open the door and flowers and stuff, like, and then you see these like girls with like sugar daddies and stuff, and they have this lifestyle, so everybody's like thinking when they go out in the world that they have to meet a rich man and they have to, so now there's like this kind of, and then there's the guys are seeing it too, so guys are talking back and they're like, well, I don't want to spend all this money and she don't even like so it just complicates things because people's expectations are different now. And I also think with dating apps, like, I think of them as resumes. You can put anything on a resume.
Girl,
you can put,
that part right there.
It can look so good.
That part.
But when you meet them and you get to know them, it's like all of that stuff can go out the window.
Who even are you?
Yeah,
There is a reason why the term catfish exists.
Yeah, and it's more than just looks. It's not just because you catfish because you don't look the same. It's because you may not be
the same. You're just a whole nother human.
Exactly.
You can put all the best qualities on that resume.
Oh, I'm 6 foot and I'm like, nobody care about all that stuff. But like, yeah, dating apps.
There are some girls that actually do care about.
They do. No, that is valid. That is valid. Because I don't care.
There will be girls that will say, "Oh wait, hold on, Fagoma, you not even at my kneecap. Fagoma, I can't even date you."
No, that is actually valid. But I'm just, people, you know, they do that just to.
But it's like Fagoma, it's an ego thing at like one thing, and then it's also just, you know, people have their standards now.
Right.
Now it's like, can they be very approachable with their standards, as in like very negotiable with the standards? They can definitely be negotiable with their standards. They don't have to be straight outright mean and just vicious and just vindictive with the standards just to put somebody else down.
Yeah, and you actually see a lot of that too. Like, people will be like exposing people on Tinder, like going off on them. Like, it just,
I mean, just all the time, just being at the gym, it's just like, oh my God, look at this creep. He's looking at me. What are you wearing at the gym? Why are you in this outfit at the gym? You are asking for a stare. I'm not going to straight up. I'm going to go on my workout. Yeah. If I get a glance, I get a glance, and I go back to, and I go back to my games.
Yeah, that's like a trend too. Or that is like
that's one of the dumbest trends I've ever heard.
Social media is just too much. Like, I just don't.
That was that whole Me Too movement.
Not the new Me Too moment. No, it's just a lot. Like, I've crossed out dating apps. That's not an option for me anymore. Just because people is just, and then also like. They're very weird, and also, you know, when you meet them online, you have to do a little more research. Thank you. And it was the last straw for me. I'm on this dating app that's like luxury or whatever. It's like for more. You have to, like, the men have to pay for the app, so you get, you know, because I don't,
quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm in a place in my life I don't
different caliber
of men, because I'm a different caliber
Stopping
of a
with
woman.
the big dogs.
Right,
Stopping
exactly.
with the big dogs.
So like, I'm on the app or whatever, and I'm like, it's not like a sugar, like nothing like that, but like, it's supposed to like weed out different kinds of people, right?
They have to pay for it, so they're more invested.
So I'm like, okay, this guy messages me, and something just says go look him up, because you know it's internet, so you need to like do a little research. The man is married with kids, and you in your bio specifically it says, do you have children? It says not right now, but open to it. But you got a whole kid, and then like the picture he put on his profile was like a cropped picture of him and his wife, or like
what?
And that was the last straw for me, because it's just like it's like, yes, people can be like that in person, but just the energy of the apps, no, absolutely not. And it sucks, because sometimes you do.
Why would you take and crop out? You couldn't get a picture of just you?
And that's the other thing. It's like y'all don't even be slick with it. Y'all don't be like trying to like. You could have easily just taken another selfie
like
or
click,
something,
and I can put it up.
I'm sorry. It's just that some men are just stupid sometimes.
They are. I get it. They don't take as many pictures too, because men don't take as many pictures as us.
We really don't.
So I get it. But
really
also
don't.
it's like you cropped out your whole wife, like, or partner, whatever, married or not. I don't know. It was just like
it was just weird
because it was on
just,
Facebook, and he was very family man, in love with the woman, married, and I don't know if confirmed if he had a ring or not. But on Facebook they were together in a relationship, and the family's commenting, "Y'all, happy holidays! You guys look so beautiful." Like, no, and you on this dating app talking about you ain't got no kids, but you open to it.
But see, okay, the question I
trying to
have
be on some Nick Cannon.
Don't people know that you're going to research them?
Most people don't expect you to.
I was gonna say, because they think Facebook is like something out, because Instagram, it wasn't on his Instagram, and that's what people are gonna go to. But I think he didn't think I was gonna go. That's where I'm gonna go. Facebook is gonna tell you they could, because that's where my family is. Like, I don't have, like, my Facebook is all like Ohio people. I only post there if it's something kind of like, you know, generic or whatever, because it's like only really Ohio people. So you go on Facebook, you're gonna find like they normal, who they are, they family, they cousins, and all that stuff. And people put the more personal things on Facebook for some reason. Instagram is more like the show, the pictures, little what you be doing. Facebook, you can go to connections, go through the abouts, and be like, this is their brother, this is their. I'm like, look, I do my research. So that was the last straw for me. I said, dang, it was just evil, you know. I didn't like that. It was malicious.
Oh yeah, there are definitely some, you know, malicious, with cheater activities when it comes to, you know, dating apps. I think there was a documentary about it with the whole Kelly Madison. That's that whole scandal where literally just nothing about, is literally everything just about cheating. It's an app that was directed just about cheating. There's that.
That's crazy.
And then it's like, you know, there are those instances where like people have met, in fact, on an online platform. In fact, actually met in person and actually hit it off. I
met my ex on the app, the one that I wrote the album about. Like, you find great people on there, you know, but
right.
You
so
find bad ones too, just as much.
Right. So it's like, there's always going to be the catch-22 when it comes to just online dating, because there will be the instances of basically you find a good match for you and y'all stay together for a long time, and then you find a bad match for you, and then leaves a bad taste in your mouth, where it's just like there's just filled with just sweat and just regret.
So that's no longer an option for me. Like, and granted, you meet people in person, it's still the same, you know what I mean, but going out my way to do it online is not an option for me anymore. I like things to just happen organically. So
now, we've had lots of artists that have come through, and they've kind of there's been a pattern of artists saying that it's very difficult when they're really grinding in their career to find individuals who are open and accepting to their career. Have you kind of seen that through your dating journey, that people are a bit intimidated by your career, or they don't understand that you've got to network and go to this event and be out late and all these other parameters?
But I think that's, for me, I feel like I've like really 360 since last year. That's crazy, because now I'm thinking about it, and it's like I'm gonna make a disclaimer. I'm not like one of those people who's like, you gotta be rich, you gotta be all of that, but like, I handle my business and I make things happen, so I want somebody who can do the same and that can provide. So I just don't deal with people like that anymore. I really gravitate now towards people who are like business owners, or like something like, they don't have to be in music, but something of a higher caliber, because they understand, and they're also probably too busy to care. You know what I mean? And that, like, and in a way, I was thinking that, I was asking myself that, I'm like, well, dang, because there's like, I could like date this guy who's like, you know, a business owner or whatever, and he's just as busy as me, and we see each other maybe once a week or whatever, and it's like, that might be my reality. That might be the kind of relationship, because I'm used to like somebody being there all the time, seeing them every day and everything, but maybe I need someone who's like more busy, because those are the people that understand, because they have their own things going. Because I am past the days of where I will date somebody who even thinks to question and say, why are you at the studio so late? I will block you so fast. Don't ever. And I think that, you know, since I have dated people that are more like, you know, business types, got their own things going, they're so busy with their own stuff too that it's like we're just grateful to get that time to sit down together. They're not just like, oh, you in the studio, or you, why you been gone so long? Because I'm probably thinking the same thing about them. I'm like, dang, we both been grinding, so like let's make some time for each other. So I think that that's probably just what I'm gonna need. Because even with school, like I'm talking about, I get maybe one day out the week to even take like a nap. You know what I mean? Like it's so nonstop with school. So I'm like, I'm probably just gonna need somebody who is like busy too, and like has that like maybe one day a week or every 2 weeks maybe if we have to, but like somebody who's just as grinding like me, because yes, it seems like the only way it's gonna work. I don't know.
Now, Rashid, should we ask the question?
Okay, so as we know, Faggot Women, it's been pretty famous here as of late, like the past 6 months, where like we've always asked the question about, would you be open to having a relationship assistant?
Wait, what does that mean?
Basically, what we would like to call, basically, if the one spouse isn't doing what he needs to do, you can have the other spouse tag in and then take care of contractual obligations.
So essentially, like a side piece sugar daddy.
We prefer the occupational title.
We prefer relationship assistant.
But that's the kind of direction.
But see, I thought of it only because you indicated that you're very busy. And that you only have that one day a week. Right. Well, there could be an opportunity for the assistant to kind of be present on those other days. And then you're just like a community, kind of like a polyamorous type of approach.
In my perfect world, yes. I don't know how that would function in a real life dynamic, like actual committed relationship, but technically, stop laughing, y'all. In the way that I know that you're creating right now, huh? Because like I'm single and I want to be single for a while. Like I really don't feel like there's no, like I've been in and out of relationships in my 20s, so I'm like, now I'm 26 and I'm like at peace. I'm like, let me just be single and like enjoy it until somebody's like serious. So I feel like that's kind of how I operate in a way now. Like this, you kind of have that person that you like talk to the most or whatever, and then you got the people that you know when you need some things.
Maintenance
like,
man.
hey, exactly.
The maintenance man.
Hey,
that was a book. You remember that book?
I do.
So
wow, look, see, we got someone.
I don't have no problem with that.
So yeah, I think this is actually like the first time
somebody said, "Look,
it's a historic
but
moment.
I'm also single though, so.
But in a single relationship, you could have a relationship assistant. I think the key is that everyone knows.
Right.
There's no
everyone.
It's not like you think you're the only one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone is in complete agreement. Everyone is considered an equal in this. There is no hierarchy.
Right.
There are no rules for jealousy. That's out the window. You cannot get jealous. As soon as you get jealous, you're out.
Wow.
Yeah, because like
that's
Rashid
never going to get off the
busy,
ground.
so it's like, you know, like I don't mind talking to somebody who may live far or who may be busy, but it's like.
But you're okay, like, you know, he says like, oh, I'm sorry, Keisha, I know it's our night, but you know, Jojo, just
hell no.
I gotta go.
Let you know.
I mean, I gotta take your Monday,
and I'm gonna give it.
I got
to
the
Pam,
assistant here, and I
gotta
gotta
give
go.
it to her. I have to service her.
I have to go do that. So maybe we can.
This is what I'm gonna say.
Hook up next time.
This is what I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all TikTok people. I don't want to hear about this tomorrow. Okay? All I'm gonna say is that I personally have no problem with a dynamic where a man is like, you know, like, hey, you know, he got time when he got time, but he might got other things going on. If he paying my bills. If you paying me to shut my mouth, you won't hear from me until what you say next Friday, or call me next Friday. Oh, you paid for my studio session? Okay, you paid for the rent. All right, I'll shut my mouth. But if we
Spoken like a true USC Trojan.
Okay, because if he's handling business and he making sure I'm taken care of, then I don't think people understand. I am not. I promise y'all, I'm not. See, they laughing.
They're laughing. Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my telephone bill?
Because at the end of the day, we all want to be taken care of, and I feel like if you're gonna be stressed out anyway, whether y'all in a real relationship or not,
you may as well get paid.
Somebody gonna kind of rub you the wrong way, and y'all talking, y'all ain't committed, and he go do something, you like, I can't believe he did that. Right. But it's just like, if I'm being treated appropriately and I'm being taken care of, and I'm not saying I can be bought, I'm just strictly saying, if you're making sure that I'm fine, you can. I probably can be bought if I'm being honest. Like, somebody said you gonna get 50 million calls. I'm so dead. Look,
Rashid, this is a first. We need to make some notes here.
Hey, take some notes. If anybody listening to this conversation, if you the kind of man that takes care of business, you keep me safe, you keep me protected, you support my career.
There's a conversation that can be had.
Hey, if you can't talk to me for this next week, baby, I don't even know you until you call me.
That part.
You can call me. Oh, hey, baby, how's your week been? Oh, me, I'm good. I'm at the salon, you know, getting a little pedicure. Baby, I can absolutely be bought because look, I know, Lori. I know. I'm sorry, Lori. Look, because I work so.
This tea time took a turn I was not expecting.
But Lori, I work so hard for everything. I work so hard for everything that I have. So I want to be spoiled, and honestly,
he says, "See you next Tuesday."
I wish a man would say, "Here's $1,500. I'll call you next week."
That part.
I ain't even gonna text back. I'm gonna just wait for you to call me next week.
She just gonna put the heart.
Cash out.
I'm gonna heart the message, and then I'm
good. Yeah,
I'm good. Like,
just in case you try to retract that brand, let me go get this money up out this.
Let me deposit it real quick, and then look, and then he called me when he free.
Like, girl,
I
I'm nothing about him.
I don't mind that, and I think that's how it should be. Look, because if you ain't gonna call me for a week, or you ain't gonna give me no attention, or you too busy, take care of me. Look, see,
they know.
Y'all stop.
And I'm sure the fan base are just there. It's unbelievable.
Blown away.
But they know how I am, because I'm like, look, even when I'm singing on here for hours and stuff, I'm like, it's not about money for me, but I want you, if you want a song request, like, send a gift or something. It doesn't have to, don't spend $10. They have these roses, they cost like a penny. Like, just send a rose, show me that you appreciate it. It's not about money, but don't be on here demand. I'm not a robot, you know what I mean? So they know, I'm like, I'm not about money, but you know, we appreciate
good little gratuity.
Well, there is space for LoveKeyyz and a relationship assistant.
Yes, absolutely.
There's that space.
Right.
I so
Ballers
enjoyed
only.
our
Ballers
time
only.
together.
Oh my God.
6 figures
I
and
can't
up.
believe
That
it.
part.
Our time is up.
No bottom feeders here.
6 figures and up. Okay.
Sound like what?
Big ballers.
That's right.
Cool. Well, we had a beautiful time together. Thank you so much, beautiful, for joining us. We appreciate the update. We had lots of fun.
I did too. Thank you for this full circle moment, and just, you know, it's crazy what a conversation can do.
Absolutely.
Literally. Oh my goodness. I love y'all.
All right. We love you back.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we will see you guys next week with the ladies of the chat.
Woohoo!
All right.
Awesome.